guys, for coming out this morning. Welcome to Mosaic Templars Cultural Center. My name is Elvon Reed. I'm Education Director here. And on behalf of Cerisa Cole, our Director, and the entire staff of Mosaic Templars, we welcome you to this year's Living History program. How many of you were here last year to see Dr. Twillie as Charlotte Stevens? Thank you for returning, appreciate you. Most of you know that Mosaic Templars Cultural Center is Arkansas's Museum of African American History, so we're gonna get right to the show. Dr. Gwendolyn Twillie retired from her job as chair of the UALR Theater Department just before the year 2000. She will be portraying Maya Angelou. She will be joined by a student from Parkview High School, Melody Garrett. And Melody, just so you know, is a senior, and she will be attending Ouachita Baptist University in the fall. Without further ado, thank you for being here for our Living History program featuring Dr. Gwendolyn Twillie. Enjoy.
Loy, 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 joy, 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 joy. Mo and Joe ran a candy store, telling fortunes behind the door. The cops ran in and Joe ran out. Brother Mo, he began to shout, "Run, Joe, I demand at the door, run, Joe, and he won't let me go. Run, Joe, run as fast as you can, run, Joe, the police holding me hand." And Lord, Lord, my Lord, that was in 1957. That's what I call my Calypso days. That's been more than 60 years ago, before most of you in this room were born. My word. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what? I would have been very disappointed had you not spoken to me. That's a part of our culture. It's called call and response. It was brought to this country by the African bondsmen and women, and it's gone to every phase of our society. I mean, whether it's formal or informal, at religious observances, games, or sporting events, everybody uses that call and response. But you know, I think it's more notable in our music, or noticeable, that is, in our music, whether it's gospel or rhythm and blues, whatever. Indulge me here a minute. If I would say to you as a call and response, say it loud, you'd probably say, "You got it!" That's right. Or let's see if I can think of another one. Who are you gonna call? That's right. You got it. Well, I think that's, oh my goodness, it's getting so I do this quite often. I forgot to introduce myself. You can't assume anything these days. When I was born, I was given the name Marguerite Annie Johnson. But my professional name is Maya Angelou. I was given the name Maya by my brother, Bailey Johnson Jr. He's a year older than I. When we were younger and he'd introduce me, he'd say, "This is Maya's sister." And so it caught on. I became Maya. And of course, Angelo is the name for my first husband. Yeah, I was born on April 4th, 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, to Bailey Johnson Sr., a Navy dietitian, and my mother was Vivian Baxter Johnson. She had a number of jobs, though. She was a real estate agent, she was a nurse, a barber, and a merchant marine, just as I had a number of careers and occupation. I've been an actor, a writer, a poet, a performer. You know, I don't remember, though, much about my parents' marriage. But I do remember how volatile it was. I mean, they were like matches and gasoline. They divorced when, I was 3 and Bailey was 4. When they divorced, we were sent to Stamps, Arkansas to live with Mama and Uncle Willie. Now, Mama was my grandmother, my father's mother, Mrs. Annie Henderson. And Uncle Willie, his brother, you know, Uncle Willie was crippled. I don't know how he got that way. I remember hearing that he was injured at birth. I remember hearing he was born that way. Well, I'm not real sure. But at any rate, we were put on the train and sent to Stamps Remember, I'm 3, Bailey's 4. We were so young that tags were put on our wrists. And the tags read, "To whom it may concern, Marguerite and Bailey Johnson from Long Beach, California, are en route to Stamps, Arkansas, in care of Mrs. Annie Henderson." Well, a porter was put in charge of our care, but he got off the train the next day in Arizona. But the other Negro passengers took care of us. I guess they felt sorry for these poor little motherless children. And they gave us plenty of potato salad, cold fried chicken. Stamps. Stamps is a little town in southern Arkansas. Extremely prejudiced. It was so segregated that I'm not exactly sure that the white children knew exactly what a white person looked like. You know, there was a joke. How did it go? A saying. I remember that Stamps was so segregated that the only time a Negro could get a vanilla ice cream was on the 4th of July. That was it. You know, Mama ran the store. Everybody called it the store. The real name was William Johnson Merchandising. But she had run the store for 25 years. She got started by selling lunches. She sold lunches to the lumbermen from the sawmill, and she sold lunches to the people from the gin, the seed men. Well, that store sat right smack dab in the middle of the black area in Stamps. Mama sold those lunches, and then she stocked her store. Oh, she had things like thread. You could get a variety of colored thread. You could get coal oil for your lamps. There was mash for hogs, corn for the chickens. There was shoe polish and shoelaces and flower seeds. And anything you didn't see, you could always order. You know, the store was kind of the center of activities for the Negro population of Stamps. I mean, everybody just gathered there. Even the cotton pickers would come early in the morning to get on their trucks, and the trucks would drive into the yard, and they'd go to the fields and come back, and you could always tell that they were kind of disappointed at what had happened to them during the day. They hadn't made as much money as they thought they were going to make. You know, they hadn't even made enough money to get out of debt with my grandmother, let alone the people in the stores downtown. You know, the store was kind of the gathering place for everyone. I mean, on the weekends, the barbers would set up their chairs and cut hair on the porch, and the bluesmen would come by and they'd play their juice harps and their cigar box guitars and sing their sad songs. Everybody just gathered there. That was the place where everybody came. I guess we were living with Mama for about 4 years. And then, without warning, my daddy showed up. Well, Mama said, "Bailey, my baby, good grief, Bailey." Uncle Willie said, Bailey is here. And my brother, Bailey Jr., said, "Hot dog, damn, it's our daddy. He's here." And my 7-year-old world, Humpty Dumpty, never to be put back together again. He stayed in Stamps for about 3 weeks, and then he loaded us into the car to take us to California. At least that's where I thought we were going. Well, we'd only been driving for a short while when he told us we weren't going to California. We were going to what? Going to St. Louis? And I started to cry. And he said, "Don't cry, Daddy's baby. Don't you want to see Mother, dear?" What would she say if she knows you've been crying? Well, I decided to shut up and dry up, because crying wasn't going to get me back to Stamps and Mama dear. So I went to St. Louis. You know, St. Louis was different. It was a different kind of hot and a different kind of dirty. I mean, the people all lived in buildings that were covered in soot. And as far as I was concerned, we were being driven straight to hell, and my daddy was the delivering devil. I didn't know how white I was. In St. Louis, I was raped by He was arrested and tried and given 1 year and 1 day sentence, but he never served a day of it. A few days later, I heard they found him dead in a lot behind the slaughterhouse. I heard later he'd been kicked to death, but I knew that wasn't right. It was my voice. My voice had killed him, and the only way that I could keep that from happening again is I'd stop talking, and I did. But my family didn't like that very much. Soon I was being punished for not talking. And finally, the thrashings by any family member who I had offended. And then enough was enough. We were on that train back to Stamps. And this time, it was Bailey who cried. Well, when we got back to Stamps, everybody thought that I was upset because I had to leave the big city. They thought I was pining to get back to St. Louis. They thought that that was the reason that I wouldn't talk. Everybody thought that except Mama and Miss Flowers. Miss Flowers. Miss Bertha Flowers. I mean, Mrs. Flowers was a black aristocrat of Stamps. I mean, she would, when she walked, when it was cold, she had the grace and control that she appeared to be warm all the time. And on those hot summer days in Stamps, I mean, there seemed to be a cool breeze that was always circulating around her. One day, Miss Flowers came into the store, and she was picking up a few items, and she was talking to Mama, and she asked if I could go home with her to have her carry the things. And Mama said, "Go change your dress, sister." I went in to change my dress, and I looked, and I couldn't decide which one to wear. Finally, I chose one, and I went back in the store, and Mama said, "You look nice." Miss Flowers said, "You make the most of the children's clothes, don't you, Miss Henderson?" "Sure do. I tell you, them store-bought clothes ain't what thread they stitched with." Well, I was walking home with Miss Flowers, helping her carry the packages, and she said, "Marguerite, I understand that you do well in school, but your teacher tells me she has trouble getting you to talk. Come, walk beside me." Well, you need to know that talking is a language that helps us communicate with our fellow man. No one can make you talk. Probably no one ever will. But you need to know how important language is. That makes the difference between humans and lower forms of animals. Well, you know, I had never heard that before. I was going to have to give that some thought. Well, when we got to Miss Flowers' house, she put away her things, and she gave me some tea cookies that she had baked. And then she got her book, and she read to me. She read The Tale of Two Cities. Now, I had already read it, but when she opened that book and started to read, it was the best of times and the worst of times. Well, it sounded like poetry. I mean, her voice went up and down in between those words. I'd never heard anything like it. And when she finished, she said, "How's that?" And it occurred to me that she expected an answer. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She gave me some books, and she said, "Take them home, read them, be very careful with the books. Oh, one more thing." She gave me some cookies for Bailey. And she gave me a book of poems. She said, "I want you to learn one of these. Read them, learn one that you like, memorize it. And the next time you come back, I want you to recite it for me." Well, when I left Miss Flowers' house, my feet didn't touch the ground. I was down that hill on the way to the store. I couldn't wait to tell Mama and Bailey what happened. Well, I ran in the door, and Bailey said, "What she give you, Ma?" Mama said, "I hope you acted like a lady." Lord knows I try to do everything I can. I like it when older folks take an interest in y'all. I try to do everything I can to raise y'all right, but sometimes I just don't know. "Go change your dress, sister." "Yes, ma'am." "Oh, ain't talking to you, Jew, I'm talking to sister. I said, what you say? Well, I didn't know what purple cow I had bumped into. So I repeated it. I said, by the way, Miss Flowers sent you. That's what I thought you said. You get that dress off. I'm gonna switch you. Well, I thought she was playing until she went out and I heard her walking heavy across the floor, and she came back and she had a long peach tree, a ropey peach tree switch in her hand. She said, come over here, get on your knees. And so we got down on her knees. You too, Jew, come on, get on your knees. We got down on our knees. Mom said, bow your head. We bowed our head. And she began to pray. She said, bow your head. She said, our Father, Lord, you know the tribulation of your humble servant. I have with your help raised 2 grown boys. Many a day I have thought I wouldn't be able to go on, but you gave me the strength to see my way clear. Now, Lord, look down on this heavy heart today. I'm trying to raise my son's children in the way they should go. But, oh, Lord, the devil tried to hinder me on every hand. I never thought I'd live to hear cussing under my roof. Well, I try to keep dedicated to the glorification of God. And cussing coming out of the mouths of babes. But you said the last days that brother would turn against brother and children against their parents. That there would be a gnashing of the teeth and a rending of the flesh. Forgive this child, Lord. Forgive her. I beg you. I beg you on bended knee. Amen. Well, when she finished, she sat down. She pulled me toward her, and she gave me a couple of licks. But I guess my sin and her prayer had exhausted her. I mean, her voice had risen to a shouting pitch. Bailey tried to explain to her that, Mama, when white folks say, by the way, they meant while we're still on the subject. But Mama said, Jesus was the way, the truth, and the life. And by the way meant by God or by Jesus. And I was using the Lord's name in vain, but nobody gonna use the Lord's name in vain in ours. And that was the end of the discussion. Well, a few years later, I got a job working for Miss Viola Cunningham. I was supposed to help out Miss Glory. Miss Glory was her maid. I never liked Miss Cullinan very much anyway, because she never called me by my name. Well, one day I was up there working. You know, Miss Cullinan's house was just inhuman. I mean, she had a place for the glasses and saucers and plates, and everything had a place of its own, and to try to put them somewhere else was just an act of rebellion. Well, one day, Miss Glory told me to take some lemonade out to Miss Cullinan and her friends. And so I took it on out there. When I got out there, one of her friends, old Speckleface, once said, "What's your girl's name, Viola?" Miss Cullinan said, "Well, I don't know. Her name's too long. I just call her Margaret." And then Speckleface said, "Well, I'd call her Mary if I was you." I said to myself, "You never get the chance to call me anything, because I don't care if I was starving to death, I wouldn't work for you." Shoot. I wouldn't even pee on her if her heart was on fire. Well, I carried the tray back in the kitchen, and I told Miss Glory what they said. Miss Glory said, "Don't pay them no never mind. They calls me out of my name, too. When I was born, my mama named me Hallelujah, but they calls me Glory." You know, that don't matter. I got to where, you know, kind of likes it. It stuck. I see. Anyway, a few years later, I think I was 13, and I believe Bailey was 14. Yeah, that's what he was. He was 14. Bailey come home looking all funny, and he finally said, "Mama, that man was dead." "He was dead, Mama." Uncle Willie said, Who was it?" They fished him out of the pond. I saw him, and the sheriff made me have him take him up to the jail. And so I took it. And when we got there, the prisoners, They all started laughing. They was laughing, Mama, and the man was dead. I saw it. And they said, surely we ain't done nothing so bad that you put that dead man in here with us. That's what they said to the sheriff. And they was laughing like something was funny. Wasn't nothing funny. Mama said, it's time for y'all to go to California to live with your mother dead. See, Mama knew that that man had been lynched. Well, about 3 weeks later, we left for California. Bailey followed. About 2 weeks later, we went first to Los Angeles, where my father was, rented an apartment, and stayed there until Mother Deb could get her accommodations ready in San Francisco. When she was ready for us to come, she came to pick us up. And Mama informed us that she had to go back to Stamps. She had done all she could for us, and now Uncle Willie needed her. And so she went back to Stamps, but I cried. I really wanted to go with Mama. I would have done anything, but I couldn't go. Not then. Mother Deb picked us up, drove us to San Francisco, pointed out the sights along the way, and we got there and our lives changed drastically. I mean, we went to school, we went to the playgrounds, had beautiful football fields, a basketball court, we even played ping pong under the awning. But on Sundays, we didn't go to church anymore. We went to the movies. I was in San Francisco through the 40s and 50s, and there was a whole lot of living crammed into those 2 decades. I mean, I went to George Washington High School. I took dance at the California School of Arts. I became the first cable car conductor. I had a baby. And I worked a number of jobs to take care of us. And I got married and divorced. I married Posh Angelou, a Greek sailor. I also started my career in San Francisco. I worked as a nightclub singer and dancer. And then I landed a job in Porgy and Bess, a small part of Ruby, but I toured Europe with the company. Came back, lived in New York. Joined the Harlem Theater Writers Guild in order to hone my skills at writing. I left again, went to Egypt, Ghana, and I worked as a freelance writer and an editor. Came back home. New York. This time I was persuaded by my friend James Baldwin to write my memoir, one of several. And I wrote, I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings, the first one. And I was really surprised at the success of that book. I mean, it stayed on the New York Times bestseller list for 2 years, longer than any other book at that time. But I must also tell you that the book was banned. I received a number of accolades and wrote a number of works. And I'm extremely proud of each and every one that I got. Each honor, each award. And you're probably familiar with some of them. But I'd like to share just one with you today. And it fits my frame of mind right now, and it fits my life right now. And it's called aging. When you see me sitting quietly, like a sack left on a shelf, don't think I need your chattering. I'm listening to myself. So hold, stop, don't pick me. Hold, stop your sympathy. Understand it if you can. Otherwise, I'll do without it. When my bones are stiff and achy, and my feet won't climb the stair, I only ask one favor. Don't bring me a rocking chair. I'm the same person I was back then, a little less hair and a little less chin, a lot less lung and much less wind, but ain't I lucky I can still breathe in. So hold, stop, don't pick me. Hold, stop your sympathy. Understand it if you've got it. Otherwise, I'll do without it. When you see me walking and I'm stumbling, don't get it wrong. Because tired don't mean lazy, and goodbye don't mean gone. I'm the same person I was back then. A little less hair, a little less chin, a lot less lungs, and a lot less chin. But ain't I lucky I can straight breathe in? So hold, stop, don't pay me. Hold, stop your sympathy. Understanding? If you've got it. Otherwise, I'll do without it. I'm the same person I was back then. A little less hair and a little less chin. A lot less lungs and much less wind. But ain't I lucky I can still breathe in. I'd like to introduce Miss Melanie Garrett. Miss Reed alluded to her earlier. Miss Garrett, as you know, is from Parkview, and she's going to share a couple of Dr. Angelou's more whimsical works. Miss Garrett.
Little girl speaking. Ain't nobody better than my daddy. Oh, you keep your quarter, I ain't your daughter. Ain't nobody better than my daddy. Ain't nothing pretty in my dolly. Heard what I said? See, don't pat her head. See, ain't nothing pretty in my dolly. No lady cooking other than my mommy. Ooh, smell that pie. See, I don't lie. No lady cooking other than my mommy. Harlem hopscotch. 1 foot down, then hop. Oh, how it's so hot. Good things for the ones that got another jump now to the left. Everybody for himself. Is the air now both beat down? Since you black don't stick around. Food is gone, the rent is due. Curse and cry and then jump. 2. All the people out of work, hold for 3, then twist and jerk. Cross the line, they don't count you out. That's what hopping's all about. Both feet black, the game is done. They think I lost. I think I won. No loser, no weeper. I hate to lose something.
Then she bent her head.
Even a dime, I wish I was dead. I can't explain it, no more to be said except I hate to lose something. I lost a doll once and cried for a week. She could open her eyes and do all but speak. I believe she was took by some doll snatching sneak, except I hate to lose something. A watch of mine once got up and it walked away. It had 12 numbers on it and for the time of day. I'll never forget it. All I can say is, I hate to lose something. Now, if I felt that way about a watch and a toy, how do you think I feel about a lover boy? I ain't threatening you, girl, for he is my evening's joy. But I really hate to lose something. Thank you.
That ends our presentation. I'd like to leave you with one of Dr. Angelou's most quotes. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. People will never forget how you made me feel.
Thank you, Dr. Twillie. Thank you, Melody. We do have a few extra minutes left over, so we wanted to open it up for Q&A if anyone had any questions for Dr. Twillie. Oh, somebody does, or for Melanie.
I have a question, but I congratulate you. Beautiful job. Beautiful job.